I've got the computer, my webcam out on the lanai, and it's a little bit cloudy, and it's a little bit windy, and it's a little bit cool. But it's a different setting. It's where I usually sit when I do meditation. I'm not exactly sure about today's recording other than it's what's going on right now. It's the first time I've videoed in a couple of months. It kind of goes to the subject matter of what I want to discuss, which is I have a meditation habit. Things come up and I write about it in my journal. Or I write it on a Microsoft Word program or a video blog. And none of that was happening for months, so it seemed that creativity that arises out of stillness and presence was somehow not available. And I was kind of just caught up in the routine of daily living, shopping, doing the chores, watching the days go by, and not feeling any kind of, or experiencing any kind of cognizable increase in awareness or maturity of awakening. And so I told the narrative to myself. I told myself the story that nothing was happening. And now I realize that oftentimes when it seems nothing is happening on the surface, something is happening. Some maturing, some ripening is happening. Some marinating of the spirit is happening. And it's just not fireworks, and it's just not obvious to me at the time. But what always remains is presence. The spaciousness of and the timelessness of the present moment. The content of that spaciousness changes, and probably there are changes at the molecular level of my body, at the cellular level of my body is changing. In the neural circuitry in my brain, there are changes in synapses firing. And my experience isn't always obviously different. Isn't always obviously insightful or wise or profound. That was Marilyn, my wife, on the phone, calling from a hairdresser, telling me she had gotten her hair colored blonde. She was going to be blonde again. She was very happy and ecstatic about that. And then wondered if I'd been doing any other errands and chores that I had on a short list. I told her no. I was sitting out in the lanai, contemplating the clouds and listening to the chimes and video blogging. And she said, oh. I also took the opportunity to close the doors behind me, and now there may be a reflection of sorts, providing a nuanced context to my perspective here. Life happens. Whether I'm paying attention to it or not, life is happening. The mind-created sense of self is made up not so much of molecules, but of memories, storylines. And when, because of a moment of stillness or silence in the mind quiets, the stories stop, and then I'm here. I amness is here. Not I, Tony, but I amness, consciousness. Those who are listening are like me right now, manifesting in human form. And what we see, the sensations, and the stories, and the sights we see, feel, experience, are created in the brain. And so we create this apparent perceptual reality. We assume we are looking and seeing the same reality. We are not. We may be looking at it, whatever that is, whatever it is, but we are not seeing the same thing. We are not feeling the same thing. We're not hearing the same thing. Many times simply because of the bodily instrument that we have. The rods and cones in our eyes, the cochlear development in our ears, and the neuropathy or lack of neuropathy, nerve pain in the bodies. We all see different things. When I go out with my wife for lunch or dinner, there's a multitude of us sitting around. There's the physical form of my wife, Marilyn as she is. Then there is the Marilyn that she thinks she is. And then there's the Marilyn I think she is. And then there's the Tony in physical form, the Tony I think I am. And then there's the Tony she thinks she knows. And so instead of 2 of us sitting at the table, there were 6 of us, and maybe more. And that's normal activity. Normal social interaction. Overlapping perceptual realities. And everything is in motion. We are, I am, you are energetic beings. At the molecular level, at the cellular level, at the emotional level, the physical level, something is always in motion in us. Nothing in form seems to be at rest. That's Shiloh walking around. He's a rescue dog. Part Pomeranian, part something else. All of us on this planet, all biological organisms on the planet, live in created realities. We share the same emptiness, but we see and feel and hear different things. The fact is, opposites coexist simultaneously in our minds, in our bodies, out there. I cannot see differentiation without seeing its opposite. In the stories we tell each other, is how we express our understanding of anything, of our life, my life, of the economic conditions, of the story of awakening, of neuroscience, of economics, of psychology, of medicine, of law. All expressed in stories. Each one of us is an author. And we work in collaboration with life to write our story. And I encourage you to come to learn and trust your voice so that you can tell your story. Welcome to the journey.